Hello, everybody. So I'm Kenneth from Ridecell. Ridecell is a software as a service company providing an IoT mobility management platform. Our solution enable our customers to share vehicles between users, as well as automating the overall fleet operations when it comes to maintenance and repairs. So in my presentation today, I will focus on the fleet operational aspects more, outlining some of the current challenges with managing large fleets, what we can learn from shared mobility fleets, and also how by using connected car and operational data to automate key fleet operational tasks, significant value and cost savings can be gained. So Ridecell has its roots in shared mobility, and that's not a bad area at all to have experience from. The shared mobility fleets are probably the most digital fleet operations you can get, and why am I saying that? Because in shared mobility, all vehicles are connected, and all operational aspects are digitalized, from how you reserve and block a vehicle for yourself through a smartphone or web interface, to how you get access to the vehicle through a digital key on a smartphone application, to as a service operator, ensuring you have enough vehicles in the right location by mapping app usage versus current vehicle locations and current rental stations, to accessing demand in real time to adjust pricing. In other words, when there is a high demand, end users pay more, and when there's a low demand, promotion and price discounts are being pushed out to attract customers. And finally, how the vehicles are maintained in terms of cleaning, technical maintenance, and repairs. And it is especially on the maintenance side where large cost savings can be achieved by automating the fleet operations. You can be very good at creating revenue in the case where you run a service where the fleet is the business, like car sharing or rental, or in the case where you run a service fleet supporting your business. You want to ensure optimal utilization levels, and in both cases you want to avoid unscheduled downtime. However, if you're not equally good at controlling your cost and overspend on maintenance and repairs, it of course has a negative impact on your bottom line. So a healthy balance between revenue, utilization levels, and operational expenditure needs to be achieved, and this is where fleet automation comes in. So what is then? Well, what is fleet automation? Well, what do we mean with it? So imagine a system where data is analyzed in real time to identify a problem, and where it automatically pulls together all the actions and tasks needed to rectify that problem. That in brief is what it's all about. And looking at the fleet operations landscape today, we have connected vehicles where we're seeing an increasing number of OEMs offering embedded connectivity, together with the necessary APIs to retrieve the data. However, this is of course raw data, and you need a system to present it to the fleet or service manager. And this is where fleet management systems come in, and the fleet management systems of today make an absolutely beautiful job of showing the real-time location of vehicles, so what we name track and trace. It's also very good at presenting the data in a dashboard or report showing information such as mileage, fuel consumption, idle time, driver behavior, especially driver behavior. If you are really advanced, you have a driver training program to make your drivers better drivers, and it has a direct impact on wear and tear. And there is the notion of DTCs, where DTCs can create some notifications for the fleet manager, notifications which might be pushed to an email inbox which is already crowded. However, what fleet management systems do not do very well today is to create actionable items out of the data, and this is where where fleet automation comes in. So you could see fleet automation as being a layer on top of fleet management, and the data can be of different sources. The fleet automation is based on the notion of that we analyze the vehicle and operational data in real time to make decisions and create actionable items based on that data. So operational data can be data such as driver data. So is the driver authorized to the vehicle they are trying to get entry to? Does the driver have a valid driving license, which can be verified through a smartphone? In the case of logistics, has the driver done the necessary driver training to drive, for example, the delivery vehicle? In some countries, it is possible to retrieve a driver record to check traffic violations. So this is just to ensure that you employ the right drivers and also let the right drivers into your vehicle. You want to have safe drivers, and all this data can be used to determine who should get access to the vehicle. Should the driver get access to the vehicle? And in terms of asset data, there are technical inspections that needs to be done regularly to ensure regular compliance. And there might be OEM information on service intervals and recalls that you want to take into consideration. Similarly, if the fleet is your business, you want to keep track of the customers actually paying for the vehicle. If the rental fees are not paid and you have digital access enabled, the system can revoke access to the vehicle at any point in time. And last but not least, you have the vehicle diagnostics data, which is a great source for predicting technical problems with the vehicle and try to avoid unscheduled downtime. However, diagnostic trouble codes has its own challenges. So when it comes to diagnostic trouble codes, they are mostly in a cryptic format. They come in a format consisting of a combination of numbers and letters, like, for example, what we see here, B14 or 140B, which without interpretation adds little value to anyone. I mean, it's hard to know that one actually relates to an air problem with the airbag. So an important step in the automation process is to actually be able to do the interpretation of the DTCs correctly, to be able to derive at some possible recommended actions. And once we have done this interpretation, this is where the automation actually kicks in. So at the core of fleet automation is that we use the data available to us, and especially the interpretation of the DTCs or other vehicle operational data. And using the data, we set triggers to create actionable items. So outlining exactly what needs to be done when a certain threshold of the trigger is achieved. So these triggers can be set to create jobs, for example, for reminders like annual technical inspections for the vehicle, which should happen once every year or once every 2 years, depending on country. Triggers can also be set really based on basic information, like as mileage, so regular intervals like 24 to 60,000 kilometer services. Or then the most dynamic is, of course, based on the diagnostic trouble code thresholds, where we set the rules, and these rules are then mapped to define jobs. So when a trigger fulfills, or when a trigger is achieved, the value is achieved or goes below or above that value, it's mapped to a set of predefined jobs. And these jobs include step-by-step details, what needs to be done, and also, for example, including repair guidance for the mechanic where more complex repairs are needed. They can also depending on the backend systems, but we can also, for example, include spare parts and spare part numbers. And then this wouldn't, once we have all this information, it wouldn't, of course, automation would not be complete without actually taking care of the execution of the job. So once we have the action trigger and the job defined, the final step is to push the job, and the job can now be pushed to a mobile worker, like a mobile mechanic. It can be put to an in-house workshop. There are many large fleets that have the in-house workshops, or it can be pushed to third-party systems. So if it's going out to a mobile mechanic, many leasing and rental companies have mobile mechanics who can do repair in the field or at customer premises. But there, again, this is part of a fully digital process, with each mobile worker receiving jobs on a mobile device with detailed guidelines what tasks needs to be performed. Jobs can be pushed out and prioritized depending on the mechanic's skill level or locations. And jobs can also during the day can be based on priority, and they are dynamically prioritized. And similarly, jobs, as I said, jobs can be pushed also to a workshop if there is a workshop management system, and we can connect with an API to that system. We can even automate the process to the point where the system can select which is the nearest workshop, for example, to the location of the vehicle, so which is the nearest distance. Or it could be based on a rule where we say, like, take the workshop within a 25-kilometer radius, which has the earliest availability for repair. So at this point, it's probably good to take a look at some practical examples how this work, having gone through the process. So take, for example, a diagnostic trouble code coming through, so DTC C0077. The platform will know, the automation platform will know that this is related to low tire pressure. The low tire pressure can, of course, relate to just the tire being deflated, or it can also be a puncture. Anyhow, it should send a notification to the driver if the driver is maybe still not driving the vehicle, or if the driver is in the vehicle and haven't for any reason noticed it. But it should also dispatch a worker to actually go and adhere and look that the tire gets fixed. And if the process is fully digitalized, the beauty of this is that the worker doesn't need to go to the depot to pick up the key, but they can be allocated a digital key which they have on their smartphone app to get them access to the vehicle. And similarly, the driver doesn't need to wait, but the driver can be allocated another vehicle and assigned another vehicles. And similarly, again, with the digital key, can get access to that vehicle. But it's not only for service and repair that automation can be used. Automation can also be used, for example, if we create rules, we measure major impact. So if a major impact happened, we can put the logical, what should the logical rules be? So notify the fleet manager, we can create an accident report with the data that we have retrieved from the vehicle. We know the location of the vehicle. The system could automatically request a tow if we have configured such a job. But most importantly, the vehicle is taken out of service and it's not available for rental or for use if it's a logistic vehicle. Similarly, we can make rules for security. If we can geofence, as we know the location, track and trace, we can geofence a vehicle if the vehicle is out of geofence. There are a number of things that we can do. So we can immobilize the vehicle. The vehicle is, of course, not immobilized while it's driving, but once that vehicle ignition is switched off, it doesn't ignite anymore before it's reset. The immobilization is reset, and we can revoke the key. So this is how we can, for example, also prevent theft of vehicles, and also how we can other vehicles. So rules can be also set up, automation rules can be set up for this as well. So all requiring little human intervention and saving both time and money. So with that, I conclude my presentation. So we are Ridecell. We have been more than 10 years in business, headquartered in San Francisco. Strong presence in Europe with offices in France, Germany, and Spain. We provide a fleet IoT platform, which is in three parts. One is the fleet logistics and workflow automation, which we have more focused on here. We also provide solutions for access control, digital key, counterless rental, and the third part is focusing on the security and vehicle immobilization.